Ladies and gentlemen, RosterWatch Nation, welcome back to the epic RosterWatch Podcast, brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Go to Underdog Fantasy today for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100 in that big Best Ball Mania 3 tournament. You've been seeing us streaming those drafts on there. You've been seeing Trashman with his disgusting drafts. You can join. And, since Trashman's in there doing drafting so much, there's a lot of dead money in that thing. $1 million is for the season long prize. Then you got another $1 million for second place, $2 million up top. Go to Underdog Fantasy, use promo code ROSTER, get 100% deposit bonus up to $100. All right, joining us today, one of my favorite guests, a guy that I'm in a couple of leagues with, a guy who I actually worked alongside, maybe worked under, I guess. I don't even know. But whenever I was doing work at Bleacher Report, probably about a decade ago, he is still over there. He's the NFL editor at Bleacher Report. A new father, his first Father's Day. His name is Ian Kenyon. You can find him on Twitter at Ian Kenyon NFL. That's Kenyon with an O between the Y and the N. Ian, what the hell's going on, brother?
Not too much. How's everything going with you, Alex?
Oh, just like I said, man, just hanging in. It's people don't want to hear weather talk. You don't want to hear weather talk, but it's hot. It's hot down here in Texas, man. We've had where I live, it's been like 10 straight days of over 100-degree heat. We usually don't get this until August. So
yeah, I'm in northern Wisconsin. It's 97 degrees here today. So.
Jeez, man, I can't even go anywhere to get away from this thing. You see, like even the cold places are hot right now. Exactly. Here's the thing. Ian and I are both in, I thought we were in Nixon's league together, but it looks like we're in Seige's league together, the Seige Dynasty Invitational, a roster that I am not quite as happy with out of some of my dynasty leagues. And I thought it would be a good time to bring Ian on. Ian's always sending trade offers. So I thought Ian and I could just kind of talk over maybe making a deal. Let's see if we can get a deal done just here on the show. Talk through a dynasty league. And so we'll start off by kind of giving the parameters. I'm not even sure how big these rosters are as far as the numbers, but do you know how many was the roster limit? Was it 25, 26?
I know I have 32 players on my roster right now. I think it's 32 in the offseason, but we might cut it down to 30 when the season starts. I don't really remember, though.
Okay, so 30-ish player rosters, maybe even a little bit more than that. This is a super flex league. This is a tight end premium league. There are no restrictions on – I think that this league, there's no restrictions on positional allocation, right? Like I could start just like, what is it? The most you can start. Let's just go over. So let me see if I can submit a lineup. It'll tell me. Okay. So I can select 2 to 6 wide receivers, 2 to 6 running backs, 1 to 5 tight ends. And of course, 1 to 2 quarterbacks for a total of 10 starters, no kickers, no defenses. So this is a league where if you're strong at one spot, you're weak at another. It doesn't necessarily kill you. But given that this league is tight end premium, I really like what Ian has done with his tight end core. So I'll tell you right off the bat, Ian, your tight ends are guys I'm interested in. You have Greg Dulcich, you have my 2 favorite rookie tight ends here, and Trey McBride and Greg Dulcich. You have Cole Kmet. Do you think Cole Kmet is in for? People are talking about Cole Kmet like it's just locked in that he's going to have this, 7 target per game kind of, 5 to 7 target per game kind of outlook. I've seen projections, projecting him at somewhere between 5 and 7 targets per game. Do you see that as being feasible? What is your outlook on Cole Kmet?
I mean, my negotiator with you, if we're making a trade for him, I'm going to say like, yeah, absolutely. What he's going to do. But I mean, realistically, I would say, I think he'll probably end up with that a little bit of a bump from last year, maybe 70 catches, 700 yards instead of 60 and 600. But he should definitely have some touchdown regression. If he has, 70, 705, like that's probably a low end tight end one. So yeah. I don't see the breakout coming where he's going to, put up Travis Kelce numbers or Mark Andrews numbers. But if he's a low end tight end one at age 23, that's still pretty valuable.
23. I forget he's only 23.
I think that's what he is.
Yeah. So the of course, when Ian talks about touchdown regression, I don't think Cole Kmet scored a touchdown last year, right?
I think he set the NFL record for most targets without a touchdown.
Yeah, he didn't. So I wasn't wrong about that. I remember thinking when I was going over the tight end stuff that, you know, that's definitely something that something that's going to have to normalize. And I can pull up our Dynasty top 250 real quick and just make sure, see what his age is going to be in. Because I thought he was going to be 24, 25. Let me see though. Tight end. So we have Cole. No, you're right. 23 this year. So 23 for the season. So Cole Kmet. So you have him. You also have here, you have Freiermuth. You have Trey McBride, who we mentioned. And of course, I mean, anybody's going to be interested in Kyle Pitts. Maybe you also have David Njoku. This is a good group of tight ends with Njoku, a little bit of the sheen sort of off of him. I think, even though he's got the big $55 million deal, you know, just with everything going on with Deshaun Watson, this is Dynasty though. And he is going to be around to have the connection with Deshaun Watson for longer than just this upcoming season if Deshaun Watson is out. Do you have any like inkling about what's going to happen with Deshaun Watson? Are you treating him like he's going to be out for the season at this point?
I mean, I think you have to. Like, there's no way the NFL allows him to play week 1, right? I don't see it, but I have no inside info on that. Just my gut feeling would say he's got 26 civil cases against him right now, and like, there's no way he's out there week 1. I just can't see it.
Yeah, how long it lasts, none of us really know. So let's just go over kind of the rosters here. We'll start out with Ian's. So, like we mentioned, it's a 2-quarterback league. He has 2 guys that look like they're going to be starters. I mean, Trey Lance, that's a valuable piece, man. But we still don't know exactly. It feels like he's going to start. They've come out and they've said he's going to start. Trey Lance and Justin Fields, so 2, guys that can really hurt you with their legs. Also, he has Desmond Ridder and Tanner McKee, who I don't even know where Tanner McKee is.
So I actually don't have Tanner McKee. I have Jelani Woods. Jelani Woods was not in the player pool when we did our draft. So
you have Jelani Woods as one of your tight ends too for the Colts.
Correct.
So that's something to keep in mind. All right. I'm also interested in him. Okay. So and then Desmond Ridder you have too. So another guy with the possibility to play this year in Atlanta, and definitely somebody who can hurt you with his legs as well. So we see the type of quarterback that Ian's Ass Kickers United generally likes to have around here. His running backs in no order here, just the order they're listed: Michael Carter for the Jets, J.K. Dobbins, Travis Etienne, Jerome Ford, Antonio Gibson, Kenny Nwangwu, Pierre Strong for the Patriots, Zamir White for the Raiders. And I'll tell you, those guys, I'm probably not interested in paying up what you think the J.K. Dobbins is worth. I could have interest in Michael Carter. I could definitely have interest in Travis Etienne. I could have interest in Antonio Gibson. And I could definitely have interest in Zamir White. I don't know if you'd be interested in any of those guys. But it feels to me like, as I look at my roster, and we'll discuss it here in a second, I think where I need help most, or where I know I need help most, is at wide receiver. And so I would definitely be interested. I mean, I would love to talk about trading for A.J. Brown, especially if you're down on him with the new situation. Jahan Dotson, I could be interested in. I could be interested in like guys like Brian Edwards, I think might be able to even help me. Not interested in Dwayne Eskridge. I could be interested in Danny Gray. Not interested in Van Jefferson for what I'd have to pay for him, I don't think. Certainly not interested in Josh Palmer. I'm interested in DK Metcalf if you're interested in tossing out ideas for him. You also have the 2 Kansas City guys here, Justin Ross and Juju. So if you're interested in maybe getting out of that thing a little bit, divesting a little bit from that situation, I'd be interested in talking about either one of those guys, certainly more so Juju. Not interested in Alec Pierce. And interested in these last 2, Jalen Tolbert and Mike Williams. There's a lot of guys on your team that I'm interested in. Jalen Tolbert, the rookie for Dallas. Mike Williams, of course, for the Chargers. On my team, my 2 quarterbacks are Joe Burrow and Dak Prescott. The running backs, Kareem Hunt, Christian McCaffrey, Damian Pierce, Javonte Williams is on this team. I'd be open to, like, if you want to talk about trading for Javonte, I'd be open to that. I think the only guy out of the running backs that I don't want to trade would be Christian McCaffrey. simply because I don't feel like, unless you're somebody who values McCaffrey as much as I do, which is somebody who thinks he can really come back and be a real stud for a few years here. I just think that I value Christian McCaffrey a little bit more in Dynasty than the average Dynasty player I think does. And then there's other guys like Damian Williams, Isaiah Spiller, Devin Singletary, Joshua Kelly, Chuba Hubbard there to go with Christian McCaffrey. Also on this team, the main receivers that I care about are Cooper Kupp, CeeDee Lamb, Chris Olave. And then other than that, it's just been a complete disaster as far as some of these other guys. I mean, it's dudes like, Adam Humphries and, Anthony Miller and Sterling Shepard and stuff. It's pretty bad. So I could really use help at wide receiver in this league. Is there, I guess, just as a starting point, or is there any of those running backs that you'd be interested in talking to me about making a trade that involves a big time running back and a big time receiver for possibly some other pieces?
So right off the bat, very interested in Javonte Williams. And the thing that struck me the most right away as a potential deal would be doing like Antonio Gibson and Pat Freiermuth for Javonte to give you your tight end and swap and do kind of a downgrade at running back. Or we could do that with ETN as well.
Well, that's a good offer. But I'm a little bit more interested in. Look, I'm interested in the tight end as well. I love Freiermuth. I think he's awesome. I know that you have an excess of these tight ends. What about any of these wide receivers? I mean, if we're talking about Javonte and we're talking about him in Dynasty, we're talking about a dude who, yes, ever since we got the word that Melvin Gordon's coming back this year, he's falling off a little bit, but he's only going to be 22 this season. He was the best as far as, elusive rating for PFF, as far as player profiler with their juke rate, all the stuff like that. I mean, I think that this year he's probably going to be maybe a little bit overdrafted if he's being taken in redraft leagues in the first, 2.5 rounds. But I just do think Javonte's so good, and that's a Russell Wilson offense now. And I get it. I feel like, I feel like I could get away from him because his value is not as depressed right now as these guys like Christian McCaffrey. I'm really hoping for guys like Dameon Pierce to step up. I think Isaiah Spiller within the next year or two could be somebody who I could eventually, kind of count on a little bit as a running back too. So I think I can make it through without Javonte, but I need better wide receivers. And so if we're talking about that, like, is there anything you can see with one of these wide receivers? I know that I mean, the two that obviously pop off to me the most would be deals involving AJ Brown, would be involving DK Metcalf, or be involving Mike Williams or Juju.
Let me take a look. What about Gibson or ETN? Who do you prefer between those two?
ETN.
ETN. Okay.
I do like Gibson though. I'm not opposed to taking Antonio Gibson. It feels like people are pretty low on him. I don't think I'm as low as other people are. I guess you're not either. But
I had traded for ETN in a few leagues because I think people are down on him, but he's still like super athletic and in a decent spot.
Yeah.
What about like ETN, Juju, and Freiermuth for? Are you willing to part with Olave if I threw in DK Metcalf, to go? Oh,
so Javonte and Olave?
Yeah, for ETN, Metcalf, and Freiermuth. That way you get an upgrade at receiver and tight end.
Okay, so we're talking. That's actually kind of close, man. Let me just go look. Let me go look through some of this stuff, and let me just kind of talk it out a little bit. So, DK Metcalf. I know we're talking about a trade here, but this is all. I mean, just give me my honest take on DK Metcalf is my worry is that if you look at what do you think that Drew Lock is going to be the quarterback, or do you think Geno Smith is going to be the quarterback?
I think it'll be Drew Lock, and I think if you're acquiring DK Metcalf, or the way that I would look at it is you're doing it for 2024. because they don't have a quarterback this year. But if you're getting DK, it's for whoever the next guy is, because they're not going to be a good offense with Drew Lock and Geno Smith.
DK, right? So DK Metcalf, and he's only going to be DK Metcalf. Let me just look at my wide receiver rankings here. DK Metcalf is only going to be 24 years old this year. He's still a freak with Olave and Javonte. You said Etienne, Metcalf,
and Freiermuth.
Okay, so let me just see here. So I mean, dude, it's a good package, but it's a good package. These are good players that these are good players that we're talking about, right?
This would be a big deal.
Yeah. So hold on. So Javonte, and then Olave. So let me just see here. I think, Chris Olave was my pick at the 1.05 or 1.06, wherever it was I picked this year. Olave, do you know how many more? I should know this already. Do you know how many more years Mike has on that current contract? Michael Thomas.
I don't.
Let me just get his contract pulled up. I know that was a David Mulgeta contract, so he got him a good big deal, just like he got Deshaun Watson.
They basically can't get out of it until 2025.
Yeah, it looks like there's Jesus Christ. So unless there's some kind of injury out or something like that, gee whiz. He has 38 dead associated this year, 25 dead associated in 2023, and 14 dead associated in 2024. So, they talk about a potential out in 2022, but that doesn't seem to make sense to me. The cap. So right. So the cap hit for this year is only 13, but then the cap hit goes up to 28, 27 in 2024. It looks like 2023 or 2024 be the earliest they could get out of doing the deal with him. DK Metcalf, so that would DK Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, and Pat Freiermuth, who I love. Those are all players who I love.
Yeah.
Right? And we're talking about Javonte Williams and Chris Olave, who I just love. But if you'd
rather swap a future pick in there instead of Olave, that's fine too. I don't know how you feel about future picks, but
I can't do a 2023 round one.
Okay.
And that's what you would want, right?
Yeah, probably.
You wouldn't do a 2 instead of would you do a 2 and somebody? Can you see anything where you would do a 2 and anybody else?
Probably. It would have to be a pretty significant player, and I don't really see someone that fits that in terms of
as far as a wide receiver, you mean?
Yeah.
So I think what about you don't like Spiller or anything like that?
I'm not a Spiller guy.
What about Kareem Hunt?
Too old. What about what about a 2020? I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd have to do Olave probably to get the deal done, to get those 3. Unless we wanted to change the term.
What about a 2024 one?
I would do a 2023 second and a 2024 one, just because you're waiting the extra year.
Oh man. Do I get anything back with the picks?
I could give you
a 2024 2 or something.
Yeah, I could do that.
So it's okay. So
big framework here.
Okay, so Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf, Pat Freiermuth for Javonte Williams. Hold on, wait. In a 2024 2 for Javonte Williams, a 2023 2 and a 2024 1. That hurts me too.
Yeah, I feel like I'm losing that deal. Feels like a lot when I write it down.
Okay. So what about if I take off the 20? If I take off the, I'm not sure that Olave is worth a 2024 1 and a 2023 2.
Well, if you want to do Olave instead, that's fine too.
Olave instead of this?
Yeah, Olave instead of the picks. Yeah.
Well, wasn't that the original framework? Was just straight up Javonte and Olave for Metcalf, Freiermuth, ETN. So you're saying, but you're saying that this only works if I give up the 2024 2.
No, I'm saying original offer ETN, Metcalf, Freiermuth for Javonte and Olave.
And so all the picks are out of it for you now. You've explored that and you don't want to do that anymore.
Unless we're doing like a 2024 1 and 2023 2 to substitute for Olave, probably.
Okay, I'll do that.
The picks or the Olave?
I think the picks.
Okay, so Javonte.
So Javonte Williams, who's like that's a crown jewel you're getting to add here, man. So Javonte, and then a 2023 round 2, a 2024 round 1 for Travis Etienne, DK Metcalf. I'm scooping in low on these guys, and then Pat Freiermuth, who's going to help me round out my tight ends. He's still young enough. No picks involved. I'm proposing the trade right now.
Okay.
Page contents expired. What does that mean? Are we not allowed to trade in this deal now?
What?
We're allowed to trade. Let's see.
Can I get? This is me nitpicking. I'm not going to do it.
Come on, no, let's not nitpick. We have a deal.
Yeah, we had a deal.
Okay, we got a deal. So let me just put it back in again. So the Javonte, a 2023 2, a 2024 1, and we'll go here with ETN. We'll go DK Metcalf. We'll Freiermuth, and we'll propose it. All right, trade sent. You gonna smash accept or what?
We got it.